what makes a generation? This is quite a question, a simple question that many of us, we don't easily get the answer. To the Metropolitan Police sitting around to watch my video, fuck you, because you are always arresting me, threatening me with deportation, threatening to kill me even. So fuck you. What makes a generation, guys? I don't like you because you've humiliated me and I'm willing to humiliate you in my own country too. This is something that for so long, many people don't get right. The average period generally considered to be a generation is about 20 to 30 years. This period is when children are born, they grow up, became adults, and began to have their own children. So a generation is about 20 to 30 years. So when a child is born, say in 2010, by the time it gets to 2030, that's a generation. They will have grown up, became adults, and started having their own children. Now that we know what makes a generation, I want to tell you that between 1851 and 1951, that's a period of 100 years, a century. A century is, if a generation is about 20 to 30 years, a centuries of generation will be about 4 generations. 4 generations of people. 1851 to 1951, 100 years was when Yoruba nation, we were under slavery and colonialism of the irresponsible English colonial Turks. They enslaved us. They killed a lot of our ancestors. They stole a lot of our resources and used it to build England. They are still doing it up to now in a different way. So if you look at 1851 to 1951, we lost 4 generations of Yoruba people to slavery and enslavement. But another generation came up in 1951. I have raised this fundamental issue and then nobody has ever contested. We, the Yoruba nation, actually had independence in 1951, not 1960. But we are not celebrating that day. We had independence in 1951. That was when Awolowo became the leader of government business. He was actually in charge of education, local government, and finances across Yoruba land. That position in 1951 was called leader of government business. By 1954, he became the premier of Yoruba region. We had our independence in 1951. Igbo had their own independence in 1954. Hausa Fulani had their own independence in 1959. Yeah, we began self-rule in 1951. That was the official end of slavery in Yoruba land. We lost 4 generations of Yoruba people to the criminality of the English colonial Turks. I hope the police who are watching me will hear the atrocity your ancestor did against my own ancestor, and you stop your foolishness of arresting me like a common criminal. That is what English national will face in Yoruba land, particularly in Lagos and Ibadan. We will arrest them like common criminals and put them in prison and assault them the way you did to me in 2015.